but I just want to frame the AI thing. Because I like you, I spend a long time in it. I spend less of using it to accelerate myself and more thinking about what this really means. And the more time I spend with this, the more I think it's bigger than I possibly could have imagined. That I've gone down all sorts of very deep rabbit holes about consciousness and all sorts of stuff. What is your working hypothesis right now? Obviously, these things change about what this is for us. What does it mean? And you and I have kicked this around, but I always like to hear how your views evolve over time, because that's our job. The two of us we try and learn, observe, digest this information and then interpret it.
Well, let me do it from three levels. Let me do it from the economic thoughts I have on it, the corporate thoughts, and then the individual thoughts. And that way everyone who's on here can kind of listen to whatever part they want and pick it out. From a macroeconomic basis, this is the most disruptive innovation we've ever seen. And I say that because the interesting thing about macroeconomics is at the end of the day, nominal GDP, and I'll give people a little bit of a history here, and you can jump in on there. But the concept of calculating GDP was not meant for a digital economy. It was meant for a physical economy. Simon Kuznets created the original GDP statistic during the Great Depression to try and figure out how to measure production in the country. It does not measure efficiency. It does not measure welfare. And so if you take welfare and efficiency for corporations, well, that's a really hard thing to measure. And Alan Greenspan wrote two amazing pieces back in 1999 and 2000, where he was frustrated because he literally came out and said, we have no way of measuring this. So he believed the economy was growing much faster than statistics were showing.
I remember that because you and I were both in the market then. You were at Morgan Stanley, I was at Goldman. And exactly. You could see that there was money everywhere, but it was not being measured.
Yeah. And it's an important thing to just start with. You move from tangible measurements to intangible measurements. That's a very hard thing to do. So the first thing people should hear is the GDP statistics are bullshit. Now, if GDP is bullshit, meaning it doesn't measure the way the economy is, then the whole concept of productivity is not measured properly, because productivity is an end result of GDP measurement. So if you start with a bad statistic, you're getting all bad statistics. That's the macroeconomic side. I've become more comfortable with that. The way that it fits into the next stage, which is the corporations, profit margins have been exploding since the personal computer came out. And so you're seeing the efficiency and productivity with inside corporations' ability to do this. Now, this is at the S&P 500. It's really at the macro level, but the more that technology stocks become a bigger portion of the economy, the higher the profit margins go. And so think of the Mag 7, their profit margins are enormous and they just continue to grow. So this has hurt small cap businesses. This has hurt individuals, and it has really hurt labor. And I think to your point about where AI is now, we're in the acceleration phase. We're about to hit the agents at running speed, and then you've got humanoids behind it. So the labor versus profit margin story is a real one, and that's what fits into the individuals. And I mentioned this in my time down in Miami with you. I've written about how I think the corporate ladder has been destroyed. And what I wrote in my piece is it's now a step stool. You can only go so high up. And so middle management is now getting fired. And I'll end on this and let you pick different pieces. Meta fired 5% of its workforce this week. The company just increased its market cap by $1.5 trillion since the lows in 22. Its stock was up 20 days in a row ahead of the layoffs. When have we ever seen any company in the history of public markets that is at all-time highs, gigantically going up, firing 5% of the workforce? And these were mid-level employees. They called them low performers. But if you just go read some of the stories that are out there, I view this as all of that is just going to get worse with AI.
Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. Look, if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and check out the video here on the right-hand side. I'm sure you'll enjoy that one as well. And if you're ready for more, go to realvision.com/join. I'll see you there.